everyone, and welcome back to the René of Paris channel. My name is Abby Andrew and I'm the Alopecia Ambassador for this channel, but also the Cosplay Ambassador for this channel. So every once in a while I come on here on the René of Paris channel and do a costume themed video. And of course, 'tis the season for a fun costume look today. So if you can't already tell, today's look is going to be a fun Beetlejuice look. I'm going to be using one of my favorite wig color and style combinations of all time. This is Lavish Wavez from the René of Paris Muse collection, and this is in the color Smoky Forest. One of my absolute favorite colors to wear on a day-to-day basis outside of costumes because I just think it's so unique and beautiful. I love to play with fun colored hair, and I've just never seen a kind of greenish shade like this. And so when I was thinking about putting together a Beetlejuice look, I thought it would be the perfect fit for this costume as well. So if you want to see how I achieved this makeup look, then go ahead and keep watching the video. As you're watching this tutorial, you can do any sort of variations to this makeup look as you go along. So if you want it to be more screen accurate, you can follow some of the steps, and if you want it to be more glam, maybe for a party kind of setting, and you don't want to go all out, then this tutorial can be helpful for you as well. Maybe you just want to skip certain steps, like maybe you don't want to be using fake moss or anything like that. That might be a little bit excessive for a standard costume party, but that's really just up to you. Something else that could be really fun to play with is over the green face paint, you could put green rhinestones for more of a glam alternative look. I think that would look really good as well. But overall, this makeup look is really fun to play with because, of course, in the movie or in whatever version of him you're watching, his makeup never looks perfect. So as you're working with white face paint, you don't have to stress too much about it being perfectly smooth, because even in depictions of Beetlejuice, his makeup and his skin is like all kind of very crusty looking, so you don't have to worry about being a pro at applying face paint. You can still make this look really great for a costume. So let's go ahead and start from the beginning.
Starting out with a clean face, the first step I'm going to do is to put on a good primer. I'm using the Power Grip Primer from Elf. This will really help the face paint to last throughout the day. Next, we're going to go in with the white face paint for the Beetlejuice makeup. I like to use the Sunset makeup in the color white. This is actually more like a foundation that comes in a wide range of fun colors, and it's just much easier to apply than the standard face paint, so I highly recommend this for anybody who is new to using face paint. Another really great brand that I also recommend is Miron. This is the water-activated face paint where you add water to it and you can use it to apply the face paint. I personally find this a little bit more difficult to work with and can easily become a bit patchy as you work with it, so I'm using the Sunset Makeup Foundation. When working with the Sunset Makeup Foundation, I like to put it on a surface that I can work off of almost like a palette. This is especially important if you're mixing colors. Sometimes if I want to use a green, for example, but want it to be a lighter green, I'll add white to make it brighter. In this case, I'm just using the solid white color, which makes it much easier. As you can see, this foundation applies quite quickly, and again, it applies just like a foundation, so it's pretty easy to figure out how to use. I'm just doing a thin layer over my whole face, and if you look at Beetlejuice's makeup in the movie, his makeup isn't perfect. You can almost tell it's face paint. It always looks a little bit patchy. That's what makes this makeup look so much fun and easy to do, is because it doesn't have to look perfect, so you can kind of just put a thin layer over everything, and we're going to top it off with some other features as well, so you don't even have to do this too carefully. So as you do this, don't worry about making it perfect because we're going to put other layers of purple and green on top of this anyway. Generally, when I first put my face paint on, I would go ahead and set it right after, but I'm not setting this right away because I might want to blend in some other colors with the white face paint before setting it. Next, I'm going in with this eyeshadow palette with this medium to darker purple color, and I'm putting that all around my eye. In the reference photo, he has purple eyeshadow or purple makeup all around the entire eye area, so we're just going to kind of mimic that. When doing your Beetlejuice makeup look, you can choose to either do a more glam version of it and kind of keep the eyeshadow more simple, or you can do a more movie-accurate version and kind of go all out, really covering the eye area in this purple color. But if you want it to look a little bit more glam, then I would say use less purple eyeshadow under the eye, but I'm going to go ahead and put it all over. I used a lighter purple around most of my eye area, and then I'm using a little bit of this darker purple in the outer corners of my crease to add a bit more dimension. I'm also adding that darker purple color underneath my eye as well. Next, I'm taking that darker purple eyeshadow with a smaller brush, and I'm going ahead and filling in my eyebrows with this. Next, I'm taking that darker purple color on a smaller brush, and I'm filling in my eyebrows with this. Looking at the reference photo, he does have slightly purple eyebrows, but I'm also going to go ahead and blend this with my normal eyebrow pencil Especially as someone with alopecia, I still want to kind of create the effect of having brow hairs, so I'll be using both products. The version of Beetlejuice's makeup that I'm going for is mostly movie accurate, but still with a little bit of a glam hint to it, so I am going in with this shimmery white eyeshadow to add highlights to this eyeshadow look in the inner corner. I'm also adding a little bit on my brow bone. And now I'm going in with this black liquid eyeliner. I'm using the one from Wet n Wild, and I am just doing a bit of an eyeliner look with a very small cat eye. I usually add cat eyes to almost all of my makeup looks, so that's just personal preference, but if you want to, you can also skip the cat eye part. Most of his eye area has pretty dark black around the eye, so now I'm going in with this black pencil eyeliner and adding more black eyeliner around my waterline and on my lower lid as well. And now I'm just using that dark purple eyeshadow to blend out the cat eye so it's not so obvious and noticeable, because of course Beetlejuice doesn't actually have a cat eye, I just want to make it a little bit more subtle. To tie this look together, I'm going to add some lashes. For costume looks, I like to use big dramatic lashes like these, but you can choose whichever style you feel looks best for your Beetlejuice makeup look. I'm using this lash glue that dries dark, and with a brush-on lash glue like this, I like to actually brush it directly onto my eyelid. I find it's a little bit easier to work with, and you have the eyelash glue exactly where you want it to be. Sometimes if I want to make sure the lashes last all day and last really well, I'll actually put a little bit on my eyelid as well as on the lash band, just to give it that double strong hold. I like to use lash glue that dries dark because it just ties in really nicely with the black eyeliner that I already have on. Once the lashes are on, I make sure they blend in seamlessly with the eyeliner by going in and adding a little bit more black liquid eyeliner along the edges of the lash to make sure it's a seamless blend from the lash line to my eyelid. I decided I wanted the eyebrows to be a little bit darker, so I'm going in with a black liner and just adding a little bit more brow hairs over that purple eyeshadow for the brows. Now that I have the eye look done, I feel confident going ahead and setting the face paint foundation, so I'm going to go in with this Miron translucent powder. This specific translucent powder is made for face paint looks, so I really like to use it for my face paint looks. Translucent powder helps to lock everything in to make sure it's not slipping around your face all day, but because it's a translucent powder, it doesn't add any additional color, it just kind of locks in the makeup that you already have on. And now I'm using a setting spray. This is the one from Milani. I like this one a lot because it also has SPF in it, but you can use any setting spray that you want. Now moving on to adding the wig into the look, I'm also going to show you how to make sure you avoid getting makeup on your wig as well. So before I put the wig on, I make sure the face paint is really set, especially along the top of my forehead or along the sides of my face, anywhere where the wig hair might particularly touch. I'm using this wig from our Muse collection. This is Lavish Wavez in the color Smoky Forest, one of my all-time favorite wig colors that we have with René of Paris. I just find it so beautiful and unique, and I thought it was really fun for a Beetlejuice look as well. I'm putting the wig on just to see placement of where I think my forehead will be ending, and then I'm actually going to slip it back just a little bit because I know that I want this dark green eyeshadow color right along the edge of my hairline. So in order to know where my hairline is, I have to put the wig on to see just about where it's going to fall. So now we're going in with this dark green eyeshadow, and I'm adding it with a fluffy brush just around the edge of my forehead. And now I'm adding almost like a contour, so I'm kind of moving that down to my cheekbones, and all of this will get softened as we go along. So now I'm just using a bigger contour brush to kind of blend that into the face paint or the foundation. To really help blend out that contour line, now I'm actually going in with the white face paint on a makeup sponge again, and kind of blending on top of that contour. That really helps to give it a seamless blend and make sure it doesn't look too harsh. This is the technique actually called underpainting, where you put the contour or your blush or whatever in a normal makeup look underneath your foundation so it just looks seamless and blended. But in this case, it also helps to really blend out the face paint colors as well. And now I'm doing that just along the edge of my forehead. This just stops any colors from looking too harsh. And now once again, I'm going in with that translucent powder, especially just along the hairline, especially where I added additional face paint, because again, setting it down with the translucent powder, that's what's going to really help the face paint from not transferring onto your wig cap. Of course, if you get any makeup on your wig cap, for the most part, you should be able to wash that off using a gentle wig shampoo in the normal washing process. Some face paint brands and colors might be more staining than others, so just be very careful which colors you use. A lot of times if you're using reds or bright colors like that, those might be more prone to staining. Those can even stain your skin for a little bit. So with face paints, just maybe be careful of colors like that, getting it on the lace. Now moving on to lips. For this, you can really use your own interpretation of what you think looks best, because again, we're going for a slightly more glam version of Beetlejuice, who obviously isn't wearing lipstick himself. So I think any colors that would go well with this would be a black lipstick, a dark purple lipstick to match the eyeshadow, or a dark green lipstick to match the green contour. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and use the black lipstick. I'm using a black eyeliner to do a lip liner first, because black eyeliner is much easier to find than a black lip liner, just to make sure you have those nice defined lip lines. And then I'm going in with this black lipstick. Now I want to add more dimension to this green eyeshadow being used as the contour, so I'm using this Miron green face paint. And what's really fun about this particular shade of green, and the cool thing about this particular shade of green, is that it's actually UV reactive. So if you're going to a Halloween party or a costume party where you think there might be UV lights inside, kind of creating that fluorescent lighting, this will glow under fluorescent lights. I thought this bright neon shade of green also just kind of complemented that darker green really nicely for the Beetlejuice makeup look. As you're working with it along the hairline, just make sure you kind of pull the wig back just a little bit so it's not directly going into the face paint. Generally, this should come off your wig easily in the wig washing process, especially if you use a little bit of a makeup remover. But the easiest thing is just to avoid getting face paint on your wig at all, and then you won't even have to worry about washing it off. I'm adding this neon green face paint along the edges, near my temples, kind of a little bit along my cheekbones, and a little bit under my lip. Now I'm going in with that dark green contour eyeshadow again and just adding that along my jawline, and then I'm kind of bringing that whole makeup look farther down my neck. If you're doing face paint looks, just keep in mind whatever outfit you're going to be wearing with the face paint look. In this case, he has a pretty high collar, so I don't have to bring it down too far because the shirt will be mostly covering my neck. But you want to make sure it's blended down seamlessly from your face so there isn't a sudden change from your face shade to your neck. This part is optional, but when I was looking at the pictures for reference of Beetlejuice's face, he sometimes has a kind of mossy look around his skin and even in his hair. And I had this fake moss lying around my house already in my craft section of my house, so I thought it would be fun to use a clear eyelash glue to glue a little bit of this on to the makeup, just kind of right along where I have that green as well. So this step is optional if you don't want to add weird fake plants to your makeup look. If you want to go for more of a glam look, I thought this would just look really interesting. So I'm taking just a little bit of this kind of fake moss. Make sure whatever you're using is comfortable to be on your skin. And in this case, I'm using a clear lash glue, not the black one that I was using for my eyes. I'm using a clear one so that it doesn't leave any additional color. And I'm putting just a little bit of that on my neck and working with it in small patches so it doesn't dry down too quickly. So after putting a little bit of lash glue, I wait a couple seconds for it to get tacky, and then lightly pat on a little bit of this fake moss onto that area. This kind of started as a fun experiment to add to the makeup look, and I was really liking how it turned out, so I just kept on going until I felt satisfied with the amount of fake moss added to the look. Once I had some of that fake moss in place, I was adding a little bit more of this dark green eyeshadow to kind of blend the edges of that moss, and even adding a little bit of that dark eyeshadow on top of the moss just to kind of make it all blend together and not stand out so starkly. And then from here, I pretty much continued to make small adjustments to the makeup until I was satisfied. So if there were any parts of the white face paint that looked like it needed to be kind of blended a bit more, I added some more of that Sunset Makeup Foundation. If the neon green wasn't looking bright enough, I would just kind of layer that on top and just kind of added more moss where I saw fit and used the dark eyeshadow to also kind of layer that and blend it together. So from here on out, you can pretty much just make your micro adjustments to whatever you think looks best. And now for styling the wig. I didn't do much extra to this wig because it already looked so great with the makeup look, especially if going for a little bit more of a glam version of a Beetlejuice makeup look. I was already quite happy with the face paint, but just to kind of add that messiness that Beetlejuice's hair always seems to have, I just did a little tiny bit of teasing with my wide tooth comb. This is such a great styling tool for your synthetic wigs, also really great for detangling your wigs, but just doing a little bit of back combing to give it that extra volume. And again, this is supposed to be a little bit more of a character look rather than a glam look, so you can either just leave your wig as is, or you can kind of tease it to give it that messy Beetlejuice hair look. And then I also took some more of that extra fake moss and just kind of sprinkled it along the hair, and it was naturally kind of sticking gently in the waves of the wig. Of course, this would be very easy to take out if I wanted to, so I didn't want to use anything to really attach it to the wig. So even if it falls out throughout the evening, I think it really just adds an element to the wig that kind of makes it more fitting for a Beetlejuice look. What I like about the styling that I'm doing with this wig right now is that none of it is irreversible or anything like that. As long as I go back in later with my wide tooth comb, I can gently comb back out that teasing that I did for this wig style. And it is also a heat-friendly wig, so I can even style it later with heat to change the way that it currently looks. But it looks so fantastic for the costume when styled like this as well. This is one of my favorite wigs in my collection, and I think that lace front and lace part with this wig just blends so nicely with that face paint look. It just really makes it look like my own skin is this color. And it's a wig that I would absolutely wear in normal circumstances out and about on a day-to-day basis, and then it also just really enhances a costume look like this one as well. And that brings us to the end of this Beetlejuice makeup look.
So here is the final Beetlejuice look. I hope you enjoyed this video and got some good tips for your costume this year. Let me know in the comments below if you think you might be trying out a Beetlejuice costume look yourself. And of course, if you post any pictures, tag us on Instagram so we can see how your look came out, especially if you are using one of our wigs from René of Paris for the look. Again, Lavish Wavez in Smoky Forest is such a great option for a Beetlejuice look. Now, of course, our wigs aren't costume wigs per se, but if you're already a daily wig wearer, it's really fun to incorporate these high quality wigs into costume looks if you know you're going to be using the wigs for day-to-day wear anyway. So as a daily wig wearer and as someone who I know that I would wear this style all the time on a regular basis, it's fun to also be able to use it for a look like this and just really enhance the look overall. And if you are someone who is even just looking for a wig for costume looks, the René of Paris Muse collection could be a really great place to look because these are a little bit more budget friendly within our wigs, but still have the really high quality features like that lace front, lace part. The hair quality is really nice quality, so it won't tangle easily on you, and you can just really use it for costume looks, and it's just such a step up above your standard kind of costume wigs. So even if you're not a daily wig wearer, that could be a good place to look for some high quality wigs for your costume looks. Don't forget to follow us on both Instagram and YouTube at René of Paris to stay up to date on all of our latest wig releases and for more wig tips and tutorials. You can also visit our website reneofparis.com to learn more about this wig or any of the other wigs in all of our collections. There really is something for everyone across all of our different collections. Thank you so much for watching this video, and we'll see you next time.